Hello and welcome to another video review, and today's a special day because I'm going to be reviewing Sea of Thieves for the Xbox One. Now, Sea of Thieves is the first big Microsoft exclusive title to come out in 2018, and arguably I think it's one of their most important exclusives of a long time. And it's also important to note that Sea of Thieves is the first major release to hit Xbox Games Pass. Now, Xbox Game Pass is their kind of Netflix-style download service for video games, which I'll explain more in a minute. However, this title is a huge deal for Microsoft, and it's seen a pretty big player base, and I think a lot of that has to do with Game Pass. However, unfortunately, I can't walk away from the game without feeling kind of disappointed about it, and it's a shame. Before I jump into actually reviewing this game, let's talk a little bit about Xbox Game Pass, because it's not something that I've discussed on this channel yet. So, Xbox Game Pass is an awesome idea. It's essentially a Netflix-style rental service for video games for the Xbox platform. What makes this awesome is, unlike something like PlayStation Now, where you're streaming the games, Xbox Game Pass allows you to download the game to your hard drive, and it kind of works like, think about it like Xbox Games at Gold or PlayStation Plus, where you get those free games every month and you can download them, but once your subscription's up, you don't own those games. It's the same idea, only it's a $10 a month service. I've been using Game Pass since the beginning of this year, and I've really enjoyed my time with it thus far. I really think it's a great service. I think Microsoft is kind of on the forefront of something great here with it, and it really is a good kick in the balls for PlayStation Now, which is a streaming service. So let's talk about Sea of Thieves. Now, when I played the alpha and the beta for this game last August, I came off of it very excited for Sea of Thieves. I thought it looked awesome. I thought it was going to be the next Minecraft. I was really high on this game. And the only complaint I had coming off of it was, well, there's really not a lot to do here once you do kind of a couple missions and hang out. There wasn't a lot of enemy types and everything else, and I thought, well, in the next, 6 to 8 months until March hits, they'll have plenty of time to add all that shit into the game. They didn't add any of that to the game. Sea of Thieves plays almost identical to the beta that I played last August, and that's the biggest detriment to the game. I went into Sea of Thieves expecting way more out of it, and instead, what they delivered was a prettier version of that beta that I played 8 months ago. That's really disappointing. There's not a lot to this game. Unfortunately, there's just not really many enemy types. In fact, the only enemy type in the game, besides fighting against other human pirates, is the skeletons, and there's a couple different variations of them, but that's it. The only other enemy in the game is the Kraken. That thing only appears every once in a while. So you're left to wonder, what is Sea of Thieves? What can you do in this game? Well, you sail around, you look for treasure, you bring it back, you sell it, you collect gold, and the gameplay loop there is to earn enough gold to buy cosmetic items? Yeah, that's pretty much it. And it sucks because the world is so good looking. This is one of the most gorgeous games I've played this generation. It looks incredible. And especially the water. I have to shout out the water. It's probably the best video game water I've ever seen. I mean, this video game water puts Pixar movie water to shame. And unfortunately, putting aside the great graphics and everything, there's just not a lot of game here. Now, yes, I will admit, it's fun teaming up with your buddies and hanging out on the ship, and a lot of the experience of the game is supposed to be you and your buddies and running into other pirates and what happens in the world. And there's been some fun times. In fact, favorite thing that's happened to me in the game was my buddies and I, we went out, we were doing a mission. We finished our mission, we were going back to one of the ports to turn in the mission and sell the loot for gold, and as we were approaching this island, there was another pirate ship there. the pirates started attacking us, and they were having their little war on the actual island, but nobody was guarding their ship. So I snuck over to their ship, and I raised the anchor and just let it sail out to sea, while somebody else on my boat shot at it a couple times with the cannons and sunk it. That's pretty good. That was pretty cool, and I enjoyed that. And a lot of Sea of Thieves is making that own fun for yourself, which is kind of refreshing because the sandbox nature of this game is really interesting. However, putting that aside, there's just not a lot of a gameplay loop in the game right now. Now, the developers at Rare know this, and they're working on adding things to the game and everything, but the unfortunate problem with Sea of Thieves is it feels like an early access game right now. There's just not a lot to do in the game right now. And I think, honestly, and this is how I'm going to review this game, being the first big exclusive game to come to Xbox Game Pass as well as be a full $60 retail game, I think gives Sea of Thieves just a little bit of a pass, because if you're a gamer out there and you're on the fence and you see all these videos of Sea of Thieves and you may think, man, that game looks awesome, the best way to experience Sea of Thieves is to pay the $10 a month and get Game Pass to play it. I don't think it's a good, hey, I'm going to walk into Target or Best Buy or GameStop or something and pay $60 to play this game. It's not worth $60, unfortunately. And I have to review this game this way because it's the first Game Pass exclusive big first-party title that Microsoft has put on their service, day one. And the biggest disappointment for me in Sea of Thieves, as I stated before, is I played this game 8 months ago, and everything I played 8 months ago is all that's in the game right now. They didn't add anything more to it other than, I think, the Kraken, which I still have yet to experience the Kraken, but Sea of Thieves, I like the game a lot. I have a lot of fun sailing with my buddies and hanging out in the game. It's just unfortunate that there's not a lot to do in the game. One other complaint I'll have about it is when I played the beta, I ran into way more human pirates and human characters in the game than I have in this final version of the game. In fact, I think only that through the handful of sessions I've spent with the game, I've maybe encountered 3 boats total of other human players, and that's very disappointing. They kind of built this up as this massive game. You were going to be running into human ships all the time. That hasn't happened for me, and that's a little bit disappointing. Now, that could be based on server issues, and Sea of Thieves had a lot of server issues day one. In fact, they actually turned off the in-game achievements because they were having so many issues. Those are turned back on now, but you know, it's a lot when a game has that access turned off to it. That's pretty weird. So, Sea of Thieves, I enjoy it, but it's disappointing, and that's the takeaway from Sea of Thieves. And this was a game I think Microsoft really needed to be a hit, and it is a hit. A lot of people have played it. I think they boasted over 1 million concurrent users in the first week on Sea of Thieves, and I would love to see the numbers. We'll never get them because Microsoft doesn't report these kind of numbers anymore, but I would love to see the numbers on how many people use Game Pass to play this game versus how many people actually went out and spent $60 to play this game. I would be very curious to know that. So, I'm glad the game's a success. I'm glad that Rare is going to stick with it. In this time we live in now with games as a service, it's very, very comforting to know that Rare is going to be adding more things to this game. And I think in 6 months, if Rare keeps true to that, we're going to see a lot of content for Sea of Thieves, and it's going to be a better game at the end of the day for everyone. However, if they don't add this content, then it's just going to be a shallow representation of what could have been. Anyways, guys, for my final grade for Sea of Thieves right now, and it's hard to review these kind of games because it is games as a service, and they're going to add to it over time. For right now, for Sea of Thieves, I'm going to go ahead and give the game a C+. I think that's more than fair. I think the good and the bad kind of clash with each other on this game. On one hand, you have an excellent cooperative experience that is kind of shallow and doesn't have a lot going on for it. So I think a C+ is more than fair. And as I said before, if you want to play this game and you're struggling to find the money to pay $60 to play it, just subscribe to the Xbox Game Pass. The last thing I want to say about Sea of Thieves before we wrap this video up is that I cannot stress enough, this is a multiplayer cooperative adventure game. Do not go into this game playing it by yourself. It's not fun. There is a smaller boat you can sail, and it makes it easier, especially for 2 people, but this is not a game that's meant to be played by yourself. and I don't think anybody would find any enjoyment playing this game by themselves, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video review. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and as always, until next time.